Nicole, let's get into our left, middle,
Left, middle,
right
right.
headlines. What do we got?
The headlines in politics, real estates, entrepreneurs and agents need
Yeah,
to
the
know.
headlines you need to know.
Headlines.
Here
All
we
right.
go.
CNBC 10-year Treasury yields drops below 3.5% after inflation reading comes in lighter than expected.
Yeah, just today, the CPI came out. And when this happened 1 month ago, Nicole, November 10th of this year, okay, we saw the 10-year drop. We saw that inflation ease. This is just 1 month ago, so we can just reference what happened a month ago. We saw that the mortgage rate, the 30-year fixed average rate, went from 7.22 to 6.62%. It matched a record drop for a one-day decrease since the start of the pandemic. Okay. Now we're about 6.5%, depending on where you look. I looked on Google this morning, it was about 6.4% mortgage rate. I talked to a lender who is, depending on credit, depending on bank, depending on state, blah, 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 blah. It depends on where you lock in. But he was locking people into those lower fours. If we see the same thing off of this news, the 10-year yield dropping below 3.5% after inflation reading comes in later than expected, we see the same thing that we saw inflation easing a month ago, we could perhaps get down into the high fives on the mortgage rate in the last 3 weeks of the year, Nicole. How's that make you feel? Buyers coming out of the woodworks, yes or no?
It makes me feel happy. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it with the team though, too. I mean, contracts are down. So if this helps spark some frenzy before the new year, I mean, it's only going to help everyone's first quarter for sure.
I'm hearing far too many agents right now saying next year I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Next year I'm going to start this. And they're forgetting about this week, next week, and the week after. There's 3 weeks left of the year. And if mortgage rates drop down into the high fives, I don't know what they're going to be in January, but I know that it's your duty, your obligation to go out and help some buyers who are in the market and say, hey, we are now in the fives on mortgage rates. These 3 weeks matter. They matter to your buyers because they don't know what it's going to be in January. There's too much volatility in this mortgage interest rate. We don't know what inflation is going to do in January. We know we're in a good spot potentially to close out the last 3 weeks of the year. Agents, you need to keep working. Your next year starts now. This is your next year right now, these 3 weeks. Get going on it and talk to some buyers about the good news that just fell into your lap once again here as inflation eases. What else do we got, Nicole?
The next one is from The Real Deal, Express News. Agents call out San Antonio's negative traits on YouTube.
I predicted this. I first guessed it a while back when the midterms were over. I said media company, national media in particular is going to come after agents. Express News was the first to report this, then The Real Deal picked it up. So they're kind of bashing in on this agent in San Antonio who has a great San Antonio YouTube channel. It's branded towards the city. He's talking all things San Antonio. In fact, this came to my attention from Jeremy Knight, who does the same thing in Austin, Texas. This is Trey Serrano's channel. He leads the Cavalry. I think it's Cavalry real estate
Cavalry.
group. Okay,
that sounds right.
So Real Deal Express News said that, hey, here's some videos such as 10 reasons why not to move to San Antonio, Texas, top 10 reasons not to move to San Antonio, Texas, and 15 reasons not to move to San Antonio, Texas. The truth about living in San Antonio. He's racked up tens of thousands of views on these negative headline, maybe not even negative. I don't think they're negative. I think they're truthful. I think they're, hey, here are the reasons why you shouldn't move to San Antonio if you're thinking about moving. Okay, so they're calling it negative. Among the negative traits agents know about the city, which is one of the fastest growing metros in the country, are the crime rate, hot summers, prevalence of snakes, scorpions, and other wild animals, air traffic, and or air quality, traffic, and tobacco laws. Okay, so the media, they're going to do this. They're going to attack agents because it's an easy target. I said this. I first guessed it a month ago. They want to attack you and the industry because they've got nothing else to attack. This is a way to attack this agent saying, hey, he lives in San Antonio and he's saying negative things about the city. Nicole, if all he was doing was just putting out video after video about how great San Antonio is, then I believe these same media outlets would call him a homer.
Of course.
They're never going to say anything good about you, the real estate agent, especially not in 2023 with where we are. So if he says nothing good, he's a homer. He's basically mailing it in for his city. It's all fluff. And then now he keeps it real, and they're calling him out. Listen, I think you want to bring to people's attention, hey, if you don't like these things about the city, this is the reality of San Antonio. This is what we're dealing with. This is my city. These are the things that are actually happening here in my state, in my town. And you should know that if you're thinking about moving here.
Right.
Listen, would you agree, Nicole, the people that are going to move to a particular location are going to move there most of the times, no matter what, right? They have a need to move to this location, right? You can
For
draw some
sure.
people in, but
But
people move
yes,
to places they need to move to, right?
of course, 100%.
So do you not gain and build more trust by being this authentic?
100. I mean, I think what you could do here though is maybe there is like a negative, but like here's how you counteract it so that when that negative happens, it's not as big of a surprise and you're like caught with your pants down. So again, I think if there are some negatives, yeah, point them out. But then I think we're in a solution based business, right? So like give them a solution to the problem too.
And Trey does that. And so that's where the media doesn't, they don't dig in deep enough. They don't watch all these videos. They just want to reference them.
Well, obviously,
10 reasons why not to move to
you're
San
giving them
Antonio,
way too much
Texas.
credit. Yeah.
In that video, he does that, right? Here's the flip side. But it's a
Right.
great, listen, he's a great YouTube, video producer, certainly for the city of San Antonio. And he's getting people to click and he's educating. And, my hat's off to what Trey's doing there.
Absolutely. All right, the last one is CNBC. Twitter Blue launches now costs $11 per month if you subscribe from an iPhone.
Yeah, and so this is, people are talking about, obviously the big news around this is getting the check mark. So if you get approved on your Twitter Blue purchase, now up from $8, which was originally thought going to be $8, but Apple, with their costs, now they're going to be charging $11 from the iPhone. I guess it'll be less from an Android. I don't. It's $8 for web users and $11 for iOS users who purchase through the App Store. You'll get the blue check mark if you get approved. Companies are going to have a gold check mark. You're already seeing on Twitter feed now, companies have this gold check mark. And then if you're a government agency, you'll have this gray check mark. Okay. If you're thinking about getting this Twitter Blue service as an agent, know that you need to have your account up for more than 60 days. So it can't just be, you can't start an account today and, it's got to be an account with more than 60 days. And you have to have a verifiable phone number attached to your Twitter account. So if you don't want your phone number attached, it's not going to work out for you, but you can go into Twitter now and do this. I love what's happening on Twitter lately. There's so much more conversation happening. I've always loved Twitter as a tool. I mean, I loved it before Elon took over. I'm not like some Elon fanboy or anything like that.
No?
I've
You sure
always
about
loved.
that?
It's the truest social media platform, and for real time information, nothing ever beats, jumping on Twitter and getting a consensus of, what people think and feedback. And if I'm an agent right now who uses Twitter at all, uses it to get information or research, I might consider paying the $11. I will admit I did it last night, Nicole. And so it's not an instant thing where you get the blue check mark, because I did this last night.
Yeah.
And no, I got nothing. I've got
Nothing
they're
yet.
They're still reviewing me. So
They don't know who you are? They don't know who you are.
maybe they don't like what they see. I don't know, but I don't have it yet. So the review process is not instantaneous to actually get. They want to make sure you're not a bot. You're a real person. Nicole, will you be paying $11? Are you going to be jumping in?
I will. I don't even know that I have Twitter. I mean, I have something on my phone, but I'm never on Twitter, so I won't be spending $11 now.
Some of the other features
I'll rely on you. I feel like you're a good resource for me.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I guess you can follow me on Twitter at Byron Lazine if you feel the same way, and
or
if you're
on
using
Instagram,
Twitter,
because I feel like sometimes you share some things on your stories from Twitter.
I do.
I mean, you're my resource.
You're getting my Twitter stuff through Instagram. Then some other people might be the same way, right? But but if you are using Twitter specifically, here are some of the other features you'll get with Twitter Blue. You'll be able to edit your tweet. Okay. You'll also have 1080p video uploads. Okay. So they're going to go longer video format on Twitter. And, obviously Twitter Blue are going to be the first people to benefit from that. Reader mode. And then obviously if your account's been reviewed and verified, you'll get that blue check mark, which is going to populate you up to the top of comments and those types of things. Okay. So there you go. There's your Twitter news. There's all your news.
All your news.
For today. I
Or just
love the
follow
news today.
Byron Lazine and he'll be your news source.
Great news day, Nicole, with the inflation. I mean, you should be happy. We should be smiling. The next 3 weeks should be good for the agents who decide not to take it off and decide that next year starts now. I'm really big on that theme right now for agents.
Next year starts now.
Hey guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on The Real Word YouTube.